Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Let's talk about Miss Wanda basically exposing Maurice cheated on Kimmi, or at least cheats on Kimmi, okay? So we're going to talk about it. I do think it's quite laughable that I do wonder if it is now just a storyline and they want it to turn into a storyline that keeps them on the show, because it's a little suspicious, okay? So we're going to talk about it. So you guys know Carlos King has his old Reality with the King show, whatever. So he invited Wanda on. I'm not surprised. You all know he loves him some Miss Wanda, okay? So I'm not surprised that now that Melody is no longer on the show, he can invite whoever he feels like he wants to invite, including people who have antagonized this woman while she was on the show. Now, first of all, hit that like button as you guys come in, hit that subscribe button, and tap that bell button if you have not done so already. Those are some free ways to support the channel. Now let's get into it. So they play a game where Wanda is supposed to say a word that comes to her mind when Carlos mentions like a member of the cast, right? So Carlos basically then says Kimmi, and she's like, well, especially with the red lipstick, right? Now, my thing is, I thought you guys said there was no red lipstick. Why are we now suddenly trying to make this red lipstick a thing? Using the storyline that came out of what Mel said on the show, which the bloggers were talking about in the YouTube streets, right? So my thing is, if there wasn't a red lipstick, or if you felt like there was a red lipstick, Carlos, why didn't you bring up, well, it did look like he had red lipstick on his shirt. What do you say to that? You're there to get the truth out of the castmates, but you didn't do that. But now you want to be making jokes and using this so-called storyline to push the agenda of trying to get people to watch the show. It is not gonna work. So Carlos then talks about how, the lipstick on Maurice's shirts was probably when he got arrested. Maybe it was a female police officer. So you guys saw the lipstick on the shirt and everyone was acting oblivious. I think that is what I struggle with the most. It's like you guys let Melody get attacked. Nobody called it out. Nobody said, oh, well, he did have lipstick on his shirts, at least according to the images that we saw. Nobody said nothing. You guys were quiet. You guys acted blind to the BS. You guys did not say anything. You guys said nothing. Carlos did not make no jokes about it then. But all of a sudden, now you want to be making jokes. You want to make it seem like, oh yeah, he did have, like, girl, what are we doing? Did he or did he not have lipstick on his shirt? Allegedly. Okay. So Miss Wanda was talking about how every man cheats. When Carlos asked if she thinks that he cheats on Kimmi. So she's now here saying every man cheats, which means she's basically saying, yeah, he cheats. But that's not where she left it. She still said, yeah, every man cheats, but she does think he's cheating on Kimmi. And that's the thing. Huntsville is very small, right? According to what I hear. So if it's really small, then word on the streets is probably flying if she can say that out of her mouth. So my thing is, like, if someone from the Scots camp think that this man is out here cheating, so how can you then blame the bloggers for all of these so-called allegations? Because think about it, they be blaming the bloggers for everything and have done so for such a long time. But now you want to be out here talking about, yeah, you think he does? So what have we been talking about? Why did you guys let Kimmi sit at the reunion stage as well as Maurice and let them gaslight everybody? Like, they couldn't even answer questions directly. Where was he coming from? Who was he with? Where was she? Everything was going around in circles and nobody was holding them accountable for how they were approaching the conversation. Yes or no questions, but no. Interestingly enough, if she thinks every man cheats, then she probably also thinks Marceau cheats. Or is she trying to say Marceau doesn't cheat? Now, she did say. So Carlos replayed a clip where Miss Wanda was confronting Marceau for sleeping with 20 women's. By the way, I know it's not 20 women's. I just know that that's how she says it, women's. And the fact that Marceau does not wear his ring. And then so at the end of it, Carlos talks about how this is where a lot of the world and he fell in love with Miss Wanda. I'm like, yeah, we hear it, whatever. Now, apparently she was trying to make us believe that she doesn't think he cheats right now, but she feels like maybe he did when they initially got married, but currently not. Now, I don't necessarily believe what she is saying. I feel like Marceau, in my opinion, and allegedly, probably has stepped out a lot throughout the marriage. I feel like there was a point probably where Tisha did get wind of it, and then decided to forgive him. I feel like they're very, very hush hush about the whole thing. If you remember, even when they had the whole interaction with Martel, when Martel was like, yeah, of course, she lets you cheat. And I'm just thinking, what in the world? So maybe there is some sort of understanding now. We don't believe Martel to be honest and the source of truth, but from certain actions of Tisha. Let's be clear. Do you guys remember when Tisha had to sit down with Nell and Chris and was talking about, yeah, you guys experience infidelity. How did you get around that? All that kind of stuff. I feel like that's because she was experiencing that and she is trying to get some knowledge and information from somebody who has stayed with their cheating husband, in my opinion. Who better to get advice from about cheating and how to deal with a cheating spouse than somebody who has dealt with that in the past? The funniest part of the whole thing is I don't think Marceau confidently denies stepping out on Tisha. There's been so many moments in the past where his slip shows a little bit, where he says, like, do you guys remember there was this interview, I believe, where he's like, oh, he cheats and then she cheats back or something like that. And Tisha is not that innocent. And I'm thinking, okay, so you guys are just out here with an understanding, cheating and cheating back. Now, if I'm wrong in the way I recalled that video, please correct me in the comment section below. But from my memory, it sounded like he was insinuating that Tisha cheats back, which means if she's cheating back in response, that means you be cheating too. So what are we doing? So I don't necessarily believe that he is saying that he's never cheated. I think most times when he is confronted on the show, he kind of dances around it anyway. So I feel like he knows that he probably is still doing it. Let's not forget the noonday surprise where someone slid in his DM and send him an explicit image, and what his response was. They addressed that on the show. What I will say though is I think Marceau is just a little bit more clean with it, in the sense that he doesn't mess with people who have nothing to lose, and he is more on the, in quotation marks, respectful cheating kind of way. Now, I don't believe there is anything called respectful cheating, because cheating is in itself disrespectful, but I'm just using those words. That's why I said in quotation marks, because I feel like people understand that there is a way that you cheat that is clearly so blatant. It's like you do not care about your family, and that is what Martel does. With Marceau, even if he's cheating allegedly, even if he could be cheating, he's not blatant with it. So it is easier for Tisha to be able to act oblivious and try to bury her head in the sand and make it seem like, I don't know, you guys want me to leave my marriage, knowing fully well that there are no receipts. It's easy for her to say that because Marceau ain't sloppy like that. Marceau ain't out here just doing whatever on a sloppy level. I think the only time he got sloppy was when someone took a picture of his back in the hotel room. That is the first time we have seen him be sloppy. We've seen him get caught in that way. But even with that, because nobody came out to say nothing, and there wasn't any additional proof, there was no way we could even say, okay, well, that means that he cheated. We are just insinuating based on the picture of a back in a hotel room. Who took the picture? That's the question. But Tisha can be like, well, at the end of the day, we don't even know if it's his back, because of course it's the back, not the front, right? So I just mean to say that he hasn't been so blatant in the way in which he may be cheating, if in fact he is cheating, okay? Everything is alleged. I don't know if he is. I'm just saying. But when it comes to Maurice, I feel like we heard about Maurice and we heard allegedly about the kind of parties they used to have at Credit One. We don't know if it's true or false. So everything is a little bit shady. If you guys remember the whole Kiowa and Kimmi, it sounds like there must have been some overlap there, which then also does not help because it shows that there is no integrity there. So I'm not surprised that Miss Wanda thinks that you cheated or thinks that you're cheating on Kimmi. Hopefully they can honestly address what the truth is instead of just storyline, but I'm not going to hold my breath. It is clear that these people are unable to stand in the truth of whatever it is that they are doing personally. So they would rather just be out here pretending to be something that they are not. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.